You're listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show, where wealth is empowering, purpose is crucial, and high vibes are non-negotiable. And now, here's your host, certified business coach and practical woo strategist, Sarah J. Loureiro.
And welcome to episode 2 of the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. Today, we're going to be talking about betting against yourself and if this is something that you're doing. And I'm going to give you a hint here. The vast majority of us bet against ourselves constantly. And it really is a tool, and it is a muscle that we need to start improving on so that we limit our abilities to bet against ourselves on a daily basis. So let me start off here by saying that the basis from which we make decisions directly affects our ability to grow. And I'm going to say that again because it's so freaking important. The basis from which we choose to make our decisions directly affects our ability to grow. Now, what the heck does this mean? Why does the basis from which we create our decisions affect our ability to grow? Well, we create decisions oftentimes based on our past circumstances. And when we make decisions based on our past, we are not allowing ourselves to step outside of our comfort zone to grow. This also ties into one of my absolute favorite quotes from Albert Einstein himself. We cannot solve our problems using the same thinking that we used when we created them. So why in the world, if we really, really wanted to step outside of our comfort zones and dramatically grow our businesses, why would we make decisions on that based on past circumstances? So let me give you an example of this. If you really, really want to lose weight, but are afraid because of the fact that you've tried so many different times in the past, and you've tried a lot of different regimens and nothing worked, your ability to create a decision at this specific point in time about whether or not you're going to lose weight this time is going to directly depend on what type of context you're making that decision from. So if you are only making the decision from, I've tried everything and nothing worked, you're going to be asking yourself, why is this going to work? Why is this other one thing going to be the thing that's going to actually help me? Whereas if you were making the decision from a place of, I really finally want to lose weight, I want to feel healthier, I want to feel happier, I want to have more energy, and you find this amazing kick-ass program to help you do that, and you make your decision based on that happiness, based on that excitement, that decision process is much more likely to get you to the place that you want to be rather than betting on how you've tried everything in the past and nothing has worked. And so this ties in so much with business, it's ridiculous. I can't even begin to describe to you how many times I hear amazing women say that they can't invest in their business or they can't do this in their business because of the fact that they're not there yet. Because they don't have that money yet, because they're not making a 50K a year, because they're not making a 6-figure year. They can't invest that money. First, they need to get X, Y, Z in order for them to get there. But when we do that, we're actually self-sabotaging. We are completely betting against the odds that that one thing that we can invest in or that one thing that we know that we need is actually going to be able to help us to get to where we want to go. The decisions that are going to affect our future, especially if we want our future to be dramatically different from our past, cannot be based on past circumstances. And when I first started out in the business world, this is exactly how I thought. I was always thinking of, well, I cannot spend this money on my business because I haven't made that much money in my business yet. Or I cannot do this one thing in my business because I'm not ready to do it because I haven't done it in the past. And so what I was constantly doing to myself is I wasn't allowing myself to grow. I knew that I needed to make these big business investments in order to see the income and the change and the transformation that I really wanted to see, but I'd always stop myself because I'd say, well, that hasn't happened to me in the past. I've never been able to create that kind of money in the past, so why would this be different? So I'm not going to do it. Even though I'm really excited about it, even though it's something that completely tingles deep down in my bones, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I have no past proof that any of this is actually possible. And guess what? Within that mentality, of course nothing is possible. Of course you can't make a six-figure year because you are acting on previous circumstances. You are acting on everything that you know to be true because of the past. But if you want your past and your future to be completely different places, you need to start thinking and start making decisions based on where you want to be, not where you were. So let me give you an example of this. I really want a six-figure year. I want to make $100,000 this year, but I've never made $100,000 before. In fact, I barely even made $100,000 in 2 years. So how the heck could I even create that kind of funds? My business right now, and this is an analogy, but let's say my business right now, I'm only bringing in $2,000 a month. How the heck could I ever bring $100,000 a year in if I'm only making $2,000 a month? I need to save my money. I need to save all of my money so that I can finally start saving more and more and more so that I can create those $100,000. And so guess what? When we stay in that mentality, of course, we're going to stay at $2,000 a month because that's where we're basing our decisions from. We're basing all of our decisions and all of our circumstances on what we've previously done. So if we've previously done $2,000 a month and we're afraid of spending the $5,000 so that we can create $100,000 a year, we're not creating $100,000 a year because we are creating a comfort of that 2,000. And we know that something needs to give for that $2,000 to change. But our decision process keeps on going back to past circumstances, not to future desires. And so the future desires in this circumstance, in this analogy, are always going to be in the future. They're never going to be able to become present circumstances because we're not basing our decisions on them. But that's not even the worst part. I'm about to tell you the worst part about this, is that now we are telling ourselves, I cannot invest $5,000 in my business because I only make $2,000 a month in my business. I really want to make $100,000 a year, which is a little bit under $10,000 a month. But guess what? I do not believe that $5,000 investment is going to help me to get to $100,000 a year. That is literally what we are telling ourselves. And oftentimes it's not even the investment that we don't believe in. It's that we don't actually believe in our own ability to create the change and the transformation that we really want to create in our lives. That is the main reason why we continuously stay at the exact same income level and that the exact same frustration that we are at, because we don't believe in the fact that these big substantial changes are going to allow us to get into our desires in our future dream lives. Why not? Why can't we just believe? Why can't we just tap into those desires? It's because we are constantly making decisions based on our past and based on our present. It's self-sabotage. Every single time that we say no to an opportunity that we really, really want, out of the fear that it doesn't work out, we are essentially saying no to that dream. We are saying no to that future circumstance, that new reality. We're saying no to it every single day, and it needs to stop. And so let me ask you something. What would it look like for you to really start to fully believe in your ability to create that change? What would it feel like to actually for the first time or for the second time, be able to say yes, even if it makes you want to partially throw up because of the fact that it is so nerve-wracking. What would it take and how would it feel to finally say yes? To say yes to your desires, to say yes to all of the future circumstances that you really want, to say yes to that dream life, and to literally step into that zone where you know that you're going to be able to do it because you're doing whatever it takes. People who are living their best lives, people who are living on purpose, are not there because of the fact that they kept making decisions based on their past. People who have finally been able to overcome their addictions, who are leading incredible, beautiful lives, are not there because at the specific point in time where they knew that they needed help, they just said, well, it's never worked for me in the past, it's not going to work for me now, so therefore I'm just going to stay where I am. It just doesn't work that way. They are there and they are in that substantially better and more healed life because of the fact that they decided to take a risk. They decided to bet with themselves. They decided to bet for themselves. And they're not betting against themselves anymore. The people that you really admire, the people whose businesses that you desire to have, are not there because they consistently bet against themselves. They are there because they consistently believed in themselves and they believed that they can do it and they took those risks. Life is full of risks. Every single business is full of risks. Entrepreneurship in and of itself is a risk. But the people who are out there and who are doing it and who are successful, they understand those risks and they understand that it is essential to take those risks in order to get where they are. They no longer create that self-sabotage that so often so many of us create, especially when we're in our phases of growth. It just doesn't work that way. So how can you bet in favor of your growth? How can you really step into that zone and start to make decisions based on what it is that you really want? And how can you stop making decisions based on the what ifs of things not working out? How can you start betting for yourself and really realizing that your success is inevitable? Because it is. When I personally set out to make a six-figure business, I knew that I could no longer play a smaller game. I knew that if this is what I really wanted, if this was the impact that I really wanted to create, if this is the purpose-based life that I really wanted to live, I knew that I needed to stop making decisions based on where I was. And so each and every time that I went into a new up level in my business, and I teach this to my clients all the time because I think that this is one of the most imperative things that we need to do as entrepreneurs when we're looking to make new decisions within our businesses, is to get a journal down and write down what the version of yourself that is already there, that is already in that future, what is that person doing? What decisions is that person making? What does that life look like? And then decide for yourself, what is the difference between you right now and that person in the future? Not the difference between who you are right now and who you were in the past. That is not going to get you anywhere. That is not going to get you to grow. What is going to get you that infinite exponential growth is to make decisions based on those desires, based on all of those things that you really want, and really looking at that future that you really desire and seeing how you can make decisions in your present so that that future is not that far away. This isn't always easy. This isn't always the easier path, and by now you probably know that this path is definitely not the easiest thing that you could have done with your life. But how worth it has it been so far? When I finally started to really step into this role that I'm teaching you about, and when I realized what it was I needed to do to start positioning myself so that I could make the income and the impact that I wanted to create in my business, that same month, I signed on 3 amazing clients and made my first 5-figure month. And from there on in, I've been making consistent 5-figure months ever since. I could have not been here had I kept on making decisions based on my past circumstances. I needed to step into a new role for myself, and I needed to trust and believe in the fact that I was capable. And ultimately, this is what I invite you to do. I invite you to stop betting against yourself. Stop betting against all of the things that you really want. Stop allowing yourself to say no to all of those amazing things, even if they feel slightly terrifying to you. And what I invite you to do instead, even if it's just for the next 24 hours, is to start saying yes. Say yes to the things that make sense to you right now. To say yes to the things that absolutely make your soul happy. Say yes to the things that start to set your soul on fire. Start betting for yourself, and you're going to start to see the incredible changes that you were never able to create in the past, because you are now creating your life circumstances based on where you want to be. And when you base your decisions on where you want to be, your success is inevitable. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next show.
Thanks for listening to the Uplevel Your Online Business Show. If you enjoy our show and would like the show notes and free goodies about how to grow your online coaching business, head over to sarahjlorero.com for more information. We hope you'll tune in next time.